seeing them okay.
That's good news.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Hey, good morning. Or good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Where'd your morning go? Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, man. It's Monday.
Everyone good? I think. Okay. Well, good afternoon. My name is Frank Clark. I'm the Portland Police Chief. And quite frankly, we're humbled to be standing here today to announce the arrest in a 10-year-old previously unsolved homicide case. So on August 1st, 2011, 41-year-old Alan McLean was shot and killed in the area of Massachusetts Avenue near Congress Street. Like all of our unsolved cases, this one was not forgotten. Detectives continued their work and recently presented evidence, including some developed just this year, to the Maine Attorney General's office and a Cumberland County grand jury. And today, I'm pleased to announce that Alan's killer is in custody. Last week, the grand jury handed down an indictment against Abdi Awad. His date of birth is October 5th, 1985, charging him with the murder of Alan McLean. Awad is currently in custody at the Maine State Prison in Warren, where he'll remain until his arraignment. Our detectives went there on Friday and served him with the arrest warrant. We were assisted in this investigation by the Maine State Police, the FBI Safe Streets Task Force, which is actually housed right here in the Portland Police Department, and the Androscoggin County Sheriff's Office, and of course the Maine Attorney General's office, who will be handling the prosecution in this matter. And just to hit to the bottom of it, I really want to thank the officers, the detectives, our evidence team that were involved, both in the initial response and in the ongoing investigation, for their diligence, for their documentation of what they found, and ultimately for their perseverance. I hope this arrest, coming on nearly the 10th anniversary of Alan's death, will help bring some closure to his family and to his friends, and will help bring some hope for the families of other victims. So I'm not going to comment further on that specific case, but we'll say that our department has no greater responsibility than investigating the death of another human being. During the past 18 or so months, our unsolved homicide cases have been redistributed amongst our detectives, and the caseload has been such that we've been able to allocate some additional time and resources towards these cold case investigations. Unlike other cities, our Part 1 crimes, those are like our most serious offenses, decreased about 12% last year compared to 2019, and are on the same track, down by a little over 11% this year and compared to 2020. As you may recall, over the last 10 months, we've been able to clear 2 previously unsolved homicide cases as well. In October of 2020, a male was arrested in California after being indicted for murder here in Maine for the 2016 death of David Anderson. That suspect remains in custody. And in April of this year, 2 males were indicted and charged with murder, aggravated attempted murder, elevated aggravated assault, and conspiracy for the 2012 death of Matthew Blanchard. Both of them remain in custody as well. This brings the number of unsolved homicide cases here in the city down to 12. I can assure you that we remain just as interested and committed to bringing closure to the families of those victims and their families. To that end, effective immediately, and for as long as we're able, we're taking the step of dedicating a detective exclusively to the review and work on these unsolved homicide cases. They'll also coordinate monthly updates with the case investigators, bringing to bear the collective knowledge of our Criminal Investigative Division in evaluating witness statements and whether evidence and testimony in each and every single one of these cases may benefit from further examination or evaluation by newer forensic capabilities or other technologies. In brief, we're committed to continuing this work to build on this momentum, and we're looking forward to putting those responsible for the deaths of our community members behind bars where they belong. For those who have committed such a heinous crime here in the city, I want you to know that. It may be just a matter of time before we're knocking on your door. And in closing, on that note, these victims and their families can use our community's help. There are people out there with information. There are people that know what happened in some of these cases. If you're listening, I'm imploring you to do what's right and to help these families who are continuing to grieve. You can call us, 874-8575, to talk to a detective. You can leave an anonymous tip recording at 874-8574. Or you can text tip 411, the keyword PPDME, followed by the tip or message to text us an anonymous message. And with that, it's my prepared statement. If there's any questions or anything, happy to follow up. Well, I mean, obviously, these sorts of cases are always a priority, always have been a priority. So we're really taking advantage isn't the right word, but we're really taking the opportunity because of the reduction in the number of cases that are being assigned to our detectives in the caseload. We're looking at what those cases are and kind of reevaluating and reassessing those so that gives them, frees up a little bit of time for them to actually focus on these.
Have you or the detectives had any chance to talk to the family members and what their reactions?
I don't have that information. I have not talked to them. Nobody here, I think talked to them, unless you want to comment, Bob.
Not this time.
Yep.
A little bit about how progress was made bringing to
I'm not going to talk anything specifically about the case, the facts, the evidence, or anything like that. Yeah, there will be, I think, some additional information in the prepared press statement, but nothing further about that particular case. Say that again? Do we have one?
I don't think we do yet.
Okay.
It might be remotely, and I think I would check with the courts to see if they've arranged that yet. I would expect sometime early this week.
Sure. I mean, a part of that was clearly a part of, I think, the reduction in crime that we've seen is clearly, pandemic related, particularly last year. I mean, obviously we're coming out of that this year. The reduction is not as small when you look across the board, but there are other, crime types and stuff that are still serious and significant crimes that we still have to have our patrol officers respond to, our detectives need to follow up on. So again, it's just, I don't have a solid answer to the actual crux of your question. There's, I think, a lot of things that are playing into that. Again, we're just looking at this as an opportunity to really remind people about the fact that there are people grieving for victims of crime here in the city, and anything that we can do as an agency and our community members can do in support of that is what our interest is today. Again, I'm not going to speak specifically about any particulars or. Again, they're ones that our detectives each have the cold cases assigned to them, individual cold cases assigned to them, and it's a matter of having the opportunity and the resources, and the key resource in this case being time to allocate and to dedicate to that effort. The circumstances that we've already talked about have allowed some increased attention in all of these cases. Good. Again, I really appreciate you guys coming out and kind of getting the information out there, and it's an important topic, and we'll give you any updates as we have them. So appreciate it.